Hello, welcome to Papa Nick's Music. I am, as always, your host, Papa Nick Lewis. And I know last week I said that we'd be talking about music this week, but earlier this week I saw a video that made me realize that I actually had something else that I wanted to talk about last week in my discussion of our partisan political divide here in the U.S. That I didn't actually address. So the video that I saw that made me realize that I need to add a postscript to last week's video was this. Steve Shives, a perfect example of why people hate moderates. If you're not familiar with Steve Shives, you should be. He's very good content creator. Mostly he does videos about Star Trek, and they're wonderful. But he also does, obviously, political videos as well. Strongly recommend Steve Shives, by the way. So, in this video, Steve is talking about how frustrated he feels when he's dealing with centrists or moderates who seem to be making a virtue out of sitting on the fence, which, go watch the video. He does a nice job of it. But in that discussion, he talked a lot about compromise and the need when you're compromising to start with a clear sense of what it is you hope to accomplish and make sure that you are starting with that in the compromise process. When you start negotiation, you should always be in your you should be at a place of your purest goal, so that you move away from that towards what the other person wants. And if you go into a compromise thinking that you'll adopt a middle position, it just ends up pulling you further away from further away from what you're hoping to accomplish. And he uses as his example the negotiations that the Democrats had with the Republicans during the passage of the Affordable Care Act. How what the truly progressive stance there was universal coverage, universal health coverage, just flat out, stop stop this. Do what everybody else in the world has figured out how to do. But that the Democratic leadership of the day thought that that was not a position that would get them anywhere, so they went ahead and they just threw out the idea of universal health care, which meant that we were just that much further away from accomplishing it to begin with, right? You don't start the negotiations by, your first step shouldn't be a watered down, pre-negotiated milquetoast stance. You should start with whatever it is you want, whatever your goal state is. That should be your starting spot. And I'm watching this video and I'm thinking, yeah, I agree with this. I agree with this, Mr. Shives. You are a very smart man. And it struck me that this is a part of the discussion that I was having last week. We have a political divide in this country. We have a partisan divide between left and right. And if we're going to address that, then one of the things that we should do, I think, is be honest about what started it. Be honest about who ratcheted up the tension in the first place, who created it, who created this this split between left and right as being a split between wrong and right. And a lot of blame to be laid there. I last week I put the bulk of it at Newt Gingrich's feet, but it strikes me, if we're going to try to bridge this divide, if we're going to try to heal this rupture, then one of the things we need to do as we're embarking on that process is we need to be clear about what compromise actually is. What are the goals of a compromise? How does compromise work? And I say this because I have a great deal of firsthand experience in how frustrating it is and how unproductive it is to engage in compromise when the two parties don't even agree on what compromise is. And here, I'm thinking about my first marriage. Now, I don't want to get too deep into the weeds of personal history here. I am currently married, and I love my wife dearly. We have a wonderful relationship. I see myself as being extremely lucky in that regard. And one of the reasons why I see myself as being extremely lucky is that I went through my first marriage. And in my first marriage, my first wife and I had a difference of opinion as far as what constitutes a compromise. I went into the marriage thinking, okay, compromise is I want A, she wants B. And okay, so we can't do both. It's going to be a binary thing. I want A, she wants B. So to me, the fair thing is, okay, the compromise is, okay, I give in this time and we do B. That means that's like I've got a chit now. So the next time it comes up, okay, this next time we're going to do A, right? I'll let you have your way this time. I'll get my way somewhere later down the road, and in the long run, it'll all even out. I saw compromise as, I wanted something, she wanted something else, so, no matter how it works out, one of us is going to feel satisfied, the other one is not. And so it's a matter of taking turns to make sure that the overall level of satisfaction is evenly distributed. And it took me an embarrassingly long time to figure out that the way my first wife saw this was not, I want A, she wants B, so we'll take turns. No, the way she saw it was, okay, I want A, she wants B, which means either she gets B, and so she is happy, or if she's not happy, then neither one of us is going to be happy. So if I want A, she wants B. If she doesn't get B, then I'm not going to get A either. We'll end up with C, something that neither one of us wanted. To me, the options were either I'm happy or she's happy. To her, the options were either she's happy or no one's happy. If mama ain't happy, ain't no one happy. And like I said, it took me a long time, an embarrassingly long time, to figure out that was the issue. That was one of the things that was a divide that eventually, we were married for 20 years. We are not married any longer. There's a reason for that. It took me a long time to figure that out. For a compromise to work, we need to understand going in what the goal is in terms of the final result. We need to understand that becomes our starting spot and that we're trying to negotiate something. But we also need to agree on what compromise actually is. Going along to get along is not the answer. The answer is finding a middle ground, finding something that we can both live with, which is based on something that we both, we have to have some common ground in order to achieve that middle ground, which means we need to be clear about what we're negotiating. We need to be clear about what we're compromising on, but we also need to be clear on what the end result of a compromise is. Is it a certain amount of satisfaction for everybody, or is it, if I don't get my way, I'm going to take my ball and go home? And that's what I've been thinking about this week. Next week, I promise. Next week we will be talking about music. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, I'd appreciate it if you'd click the like button below. While you're down there clicking, hey, go ahead and subscribe if you haven't already done so. It costs you nothing, but it means the world to me, so I very much appreciate it. Thanks for hanging out with me today. And I hope that the rest of your day is bright. See you soon.